Thanks very much, Delia, and thanks very much for chairing the meeting, and thanks also to Claire and the LRC for making this a joint event. I'm really glad we're having the meeting. I'm delighted that Matt has come to speak. We've just had him debating the EU in or out with the General Secretary of ASLEF, so we're working him hard. So we're very pleased, Matt, you could come and speak to us. What I want to do really is to say where I stand personally on the Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, and on Momentum. Why I hope that the PCS conference votes to affiliate to Momentum when it gets the opportunity tomorrow. And also why I hope that in the political debate we're going to have, we ask ourselves what we as a union can do in order to support Jeremy Corbyn and John McDonnell, the policies they stand for, and what we as one of the most progressive left unions in Britain can do to play our part, rather than commit what I now think would be a heinous crime of standing on the sidelines, waiting to see what happens and wishing them well from afar. Because wouldn't it be an absolute outrage if the union, with Matt's exception, the union that has supported Jeremy and John more than anybody else for 15 years when they were backbenchers, suddenly when they get into positions of real influence, dampen down our ardour and our love and say, well, we're now going to stand a little bit away from you. It would be absolutely a strategic error for us to commit that, because we would be giving up the chance to fight for the policies that this union has had ever since the left took it over and I became General Secretary, going way back, of anti-austerity, of strong public services, of nationalisation, of opposition to pay restraint, and all the many other things that we hold dear. Because if suddenly politics in Britain has changed, and a party that we have quite rightly criticised for many years as being austerity-like, neoliberal, and a really wishy-washy opposition, suddenly says the things that we believe in, it would, in my view, be a monumental error of judgment if we somehow did not throw ourselves into hook, line and sinker to support what they are doing and recognise why that's in the interest of our members. And so I start from a position, and let's be clear, I rejoined Labour. I wasn't allowed in. I first had to go to a disciplinary committee. Lots of people weren't very happy. You heard my joke earlier on. About 450 people told me to F off on Twitter overnight. And that, for me, was a big decision. And why did I take it? I took it because Jeremy Corbyn, in his election campaign, raised the issues that I would defy any left-winger or socialist in this meeting or our union to say they disagree with him on. We agree with him on them. So the point, therefore, is if he's now in a position to actually put the centre stage in British politics and create an anti-austerity party that is not a small, tiny party, but a mass party with hundreds of thousands of members, supported by the trade unions that can get millions of votes, you must ask ourselves, what are we doing? Why would we stand away from that and not throw ourselves into it, hook, line and sinker? Because the reality is that we do support Jeremy Corbyn and John McDonnell's policies. Just for those who missed it today, he said he would reintroduce national pay bargaining in the civil service. Something that we have never got near winning on an industrial basis, something that no politician or political party has actually said to us in the last 20 years. He told us he would reintroduce it. It would be achieving one of our fundamental policy objectives if he were to do it. He also said he would repeal the Trade Union Act, give us new rights at work. He supported the Welsh Museum strikers. He supported the Biz strikers. He was proud to support the National Gallery strikers. He said a whole host of other things. And I can't imagine there was any delegate in that room who disagreed with what he was saying. So if we agree so profoundly with somebody, we must then ask ourselves a question: what is it that would stop us doing every single thing we could to make sure that that message prevails in the Labour Party and prevails when it's put in front of the British people? Because if we don't do everything we can, we are by default saying we're going to stand back and watch and see what happens. For PCS to even contemplate standing by and watching would be an extraordinary place for us to end up, given the politics that we have agreed at our conference year after year after year. So the question that I personally asked myself when all this was going on is, right, well, Jeremy believes in all of that. This is really, really great. Does he have the support of the Parliamentary Labour Party? No, he doesn't. Does he have the support of the majority of Labour councillors? No, he doesn't. Does he have the support of any of the mainstream newspapers? No, he doesn't. And he probably doesn't have the support of some union leaders. So Jeremy's got a big task ahead of him, hasn't he? He's actually got a huge task, because he knows when he's sitting there, lots of people behind him on the backbenches are hoping he will fail. Well, if they are hoping he'll fail, I hope that we hope he succeeds above all else. And the question we have to ask ourselves then is how can we support him and stop those right-wing forces behind him in Parliament and elsewhere, hoping Jeremy is toppled and we can go back to business as usual and have Chucker Amuna or Yvette Cooper or anybody else. And I don't know about you, but I don't know how I would feel. I'd feel awful if that was to be the outcome and I didn't think that we or I or anybody here had done everything possible we could to stop it. So really I think the time has come for us to say to ourselves, not were we wrong in our political perspectives 10 years ago, that's not the question. Personally, I don't think we were wrong 10 years ago. It's to say that was 10 years ago, this is today. The world's moving at a rapid pace in British politics, and we cannot be left behind. Wouldn't it be somewhat of an irony if everybody sees this move as a massive swing to the left, and PCS in some way stood there and said, it's not left-wing enough, so we're still not prepared to get in and support it? Because what that's going to do is not make things more left-wing, it's actually going to mean it's more likely to revert to how they would want it to be as business as usual. So really my appeal to people, particularly left delegates to this conference, who could probably come up with a whole host of things about a council making cuts, or they didn't agree with this, or they didn't agree with that, and therefore we can't give our wholehearted support, is to say, well, who are you going to give your wholehearted support to at this moment then? What is your strategy to ensure that the anti-austerity politics that our union wants to see can come to the fore? What is your legitimate argument as to how that is going to be taken forward? Because it seems to me, here's a chance for us to get stuck in and try. May not win, maybe we're still defeated, but better to try than to stand on the sidelines and to say to ourselves, well, we told you so. In fact, it may well be the case that some people's worldview has been challenged by the events and developments that have taken place in the last few years, and they're struggling to readjust to it. I struggle to readjust to it, but at the end of the day, I don't think we can be ambivalent here on what we want to see in terms of PCS. Now, I'll tell you this, and I don't know if this is controversial, have I joined the Labour Party for life? I've joined the Labour Party because I support Corbyn and I support what he's trying to do. If Corbyn is ousted and it all goes back to the right wing, I won't consider myself to be in it for life. I would say to myself, I'll give it my best shot, and now I'd like to see how else I can argue for anti-austerity politics. But I tell you what I wouldn't want to do, is to wait and see what happens and sit there and actually say to myself, that was interesting, wasn't it? How that's turned out. What am I going to do now that we've actually got to the end position? Because to do that is absenting ourselves from the struggle. And therefore I hope that when we have our political strategy debate, we actually move on and say to ourselves, how do we support Jeremy Corbyn and John McDonnell? That we say, how do we engage with our members to give them our full backing? How do we as a union now approach the questions about the Labour Party and about Corbyn and McDonnell? Now, you notice from the motion that we're putting to conference, the NEC puts to conference, it doesn't conclude from that we should immediately have a ballot to affiliate the Labour Party, because actually we conclude that even if that's what we wanted, you have to convince the members, and that is a long-term discussion. It's not a snap. We can decide today to affiliate. To be honest, when we decided we would stand or support candidates in elections as a union, we debated it over 3 conferences, over 3 years, and we had a membership ballot, because they are profound things that actually require a really profound debate. So what we're not doing today is asking, should PCS affiliate to the Labour Party or not? We're saying that should be part of a discussion with our members. But what we do have the chance to do is to say, should we affiliate to Momentum, particularly given that people like Delia and Matt have argued the case in Momentum to allow unions like us, who are non-affiliated, to affiliate. And not only that, they've won the argument that if we affiliate, we can send who we wish to the Momentum National Committee with no prescriptions. People have been arguing in there for it to be opened up to forces like us that are progressive, so that we can make the arguments to support Jeremy Corbyn. And therefore it strikes me that it is the only opportunity we've got this week as a union to take a decision to collectively get involved as PCS to argue that Momentum and the Labour Party should have policies to oppose all cuts, to fight austerity, and to do all the things we want, because by affiliating we take our policy in, and the people that we send will go and have that discussion on the National Committee. Hopefully that will be agreed and Jeremy Corbyn would welcome it. So we have a chance. So I'm going to finish by saying to you really this, is that you're probably sitting there thinking, well, if you're on the left, if you believe in PCS's policies, and we're not yet being asked to affiliate the Labour Party, isn't it a no-brainer? I have to say, I thought it was a no-brainer. But actually, it's not a no-brainer to some people, and we will see this in the debate tomorrow. And the question that I hope comes out tonight is that those people who are going to say, well, they've got this particular problem or that particular problem. The question to ask yourselves is, well, tell us then how you are supporting Jeremy Corbyn. Because it isn't good enough to say we support Jeremy Corbyn, but we're either in there supporting him and arguing for our policies, or we're not. And the ability to get into Momentum as a collective means we can say we support him, and by the way, we want to convince him of our policy positions that if he hasn't yet agreed to them. I can't see why any left progressive union would not want to take the opportunity to do it. And I think arguments about, well, is it a straw man for getting into Labour Party affiliation? Do we think Momentum is great? Are there some people or some parts of the UK where it hasn't been as good as we would like? Comrades, ask yourself this. They are small details in the big picture. For every person who stood up and cheered Corbyn in our conference today, I hope you ask yourself the question, it's not good enough just to cheer him in the conference. We have to support him in every way we can as PCS. And if we do that, it makes the likelihood of him still being there better, and it means the likelihood of the policies we want, like national bargaining, being on the agenda. If we stand outside and leave it to the likes of Delia and Matt and others, I hope they win. But I tell you what, I'd rather not stand on the sidelines and hope they win. I'd rather be in there doing everything I could to stand beside them to ensure we win, that PCS wins, that Corbyn stays put, and the people in this country in 2020 can actually have a debate about a real anti-austerity socialist government or the reactionary Tories. That's what we want them to have, so let's make sure we do that. And not only do we do that, we continue to do this one last thing that Corbyn wants, which is continue to fight and to continue to struggle against cuts and austerity to build the movement while we're doing it. And don't let anyone persuade you that you cannot do both, because you can fight in the here and now and still support Corbyn, which is what I advocate. And I hope people here also want to punch with both hands, not just with one. And if PTS does that, it'll be a proud day for us. And I can tell you nobody will be happier than Jeremy Corbyn and John McDonnell, who are desperate for this union to affiliate and to help them out.